gorgeous faces. It's so nice to see everyone. Please make sure that you're all muted. And let's let a few more people in. Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to see you all today. Hold on one second. Admit. You know me. I was like really excited. I was like, well, everyone loves Sara. Sara's a really great casting director. Everyone loves her. And plus Audible, oh my God. And then I happened to see her Insta and she has blue hair and does yoga and has tattoos. So now I'm like, well, I'm all in. Okay, so I've got to remember the whole casting director thing at some point during the call. Okay, everyone, it's so nice to see you today. Please remember the rules. No boring questions. I don't want to know. We all know how to send a letter to a publisher. There's no magic secret formula. If you can Google it, Google it. But if you have any quirky questions, then throw them at me, type question in the message board, and I will send them Sara's way. And so let's spend this call and let's find out some of the good stuff. So, oh yeah, me too, Laura. Laura wants to find out more about yoga. And also, guys, if you do have anything in particular that you'd like to comment, that you'd like Sara to see, remember she's not watching the chat during the call, but she will receive the chat after the call. So if you type anything else in, Sara will see it after the call. So, Sara, 10-year-old Sara, what was she like? What was she dreaming about? What was she an introvert, an extrovert? Was she the girl of the party? Or tell us about 10-year-old Sara.
10-year-old Sara was definitely not the life of the party. More of an introvert. I was very, very quiet, very, very shy. I mean, I still haven't completely outgrown that. I had a really difficult time just speaking in class, and it just brought up a memory. Like it carried into middle school to the point where in our middle school yearbook, when the 8th graders were moving on to high school, there was an 8th grade section in the yearbook that said, "Can you picture this?" And you could put in things like, "Can you picture so and so not wearing red?" And for me, it got submitted, "Can you picture Sara talking loudly in class?" Sad face.
Oh. And was it something you were conscious of? Was it like something that bothered you?
Yeah, I mean, when it came, I think it was a friend of mine that put it in, so it was just like it didn't hurt. It was funny and it was true. Yeah. But yeah, I was always very quiet and shy. Not good at speaking and public speaking.
Did you like TV, books, games?
Oh yeah, I did. My family, I remember we watched TGI Friday on ABC every Friday. Boy Meets World, and was it anyone remember Teen Angel, or am I too young?
Teen Angel.
It was another one of those silly comedy sitcom, like family sitcoms on TGIF.
I might need to check it out on one of my like retro wanting to relive childhood nights.
Too. You don't hear about it ever, but I remember like Boy Meets World, I think Teen Angel, I think maybe Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Yeah, and the Boy Meets World I know, but Teen Angel I don't. Do you know who was in it?
Don't. I'm actually gonna have to look it up too now.
Now all of us, they're gonna have like an uptake in royalty payments. They're gonna be like, why is everyone watching Teen Angel suddenly? But so, okay, so you watch TV, brothers and sisters?
I had a younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry,
dreams?
Go ahead.
Dreams? Like, I'm going to be such and such when I grow up, or just enjoying the moment, or?
I've never really been one to think about, it's funny, I just had this conversation with my husband the other day. And he laughed at me because I forget what we were talking about, but I was like, I have never, ever been the kind of person to think about the future when it matters. But meanwhile, we're going to Cape May in September. I know what I'm going to order for breakfast the first day we get there. So like, I can plan the future in that way, the things that don't matter at all.
Do you have like spreadsheets and calendars and everything? Are you like hyper organized
No.
just when it comes to vacation?
Yeah, or like, yeah, deciding what I'm going to eat in a month.
So what did you
But
do? What path did you take? What did you major? Did you go to college? Did you start a job after high school? What path did you
yeah,
take?
so just starting again, 10-year-old me was also a piano player. And so I knew I wanted to do music in college. I think I would have hated college if I wasn't a music major. And so at first, so I went to William Patterson in New Jersey and was a music major, classical piano major, but my concentration was music business. And I think I just picked that because I knew I wasn't going to do performance. And so I was just, well, I'll just pick music business, sure. And then within the first month, I was like, I'm so not a business person. What am I doing? And I
I'm
switched
so relieved to
immediately.
hear you say that because I was sitting here going, oh God, how am I going to take the rest of this call? Because I hear
Oh
business and
yeah,
my eyes roll to the back of my head. I
yeah. I
shouldn't,
think I
but
just used it as a way to like get me into music school. And so I
why did you
very
not
like
think you were going to
immediately
perform? Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but why did you not think you were going to perform?
I didn't want a career in performance. And so I switched to sound engineering, which I ended
Mhm.
up loving and am still
Ah,
doing. Yeah.
yeah, I
And
can
so
see the
after,
tie-in.
yeah, after
Yeah.
college, actually before I even graduated, I started doing audiobook editing for a post house, a Common Mode, which some of you might be familiar with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so so once I actually graduated, I immediately started working full time as an audio editor for Common Mode, and I was there for about 2 years. And then I was a freelance audiobook editor for many years
So
until
you've got the
Audible.
chops, you've got the ear, you've heard the books, you know what you're doing then. Did you
Hmm.
ever direct as well? Or just the edit? Not just
At
because that's a
Common
lot,
Mode,
but
I hadn't, but I had done like a very tiny bit as a freelancer. And then at Audible, I pursued it more and more. And then I ended up moving from the post team to the producer team. And I have a hybrid role. So I still do post production. I edit all of my multicasts and I still edit some of my standard narration stuff. But I also do the producer role.
so were you excited the day you got the job as the producer? Was it like, it feels like it would feel like a really big deal? Like, did you make a cake?
I probably should have. It was something. So I had gotten hired at Audible to be, as an editor, but during my first couple of years there, I had done directing, and so I was doing both, but not the full producer role. And then the idea was actually brought to me that I could move to the producer team, but still be able to keep what I like doing in post production. So I still am able to do editing and I'm able to make both work. So then I was able to, instead of just doing directing, then I was able to get into casting and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so for the audience, I've done the whole business producer Audible stuff. Now for me, when did you start yoga?
I think it was probably 8 years ago now, I think 8 or 9 years ago.
What drew you to that? I want to do that. It's not too late. I tried,
It's
there was
never
a
too
thing called,
late.
have you ever heard of Eccentrics? I was put off it. They used to advertise on Facebook,
I
and I
don't
thought, well,
think
that's for
so.
like old ladies. And then I tried it the other
Oh,
day. The first 3 minutes, I hurt my knee, and I've been limping around for like a week. So I'm afraid yoga might be a stretch too far.
um, yoga can be for anyone. I mean, I've taught a girl who has rheumatoid arthritis and she can't put any pressure on her wrists, but I came up with a workaround where she could still do like the vinyasas without using her wrists. Like anyone can do it. There's always modifications.
Petrea wants to know what's the most difficult yoga position you do? Because I've seen your Instagram posts. Can I just say, oh my God. Like, I mean, yeah, what's the most first, what's the most difficult yoga position? Second, how did you start? And third, please tell me you were crap when you started, and then like this is like years later, the miracle after picture.
So I would say like handstands are still challenging and are still something I really work on. Trying to get longer holds and more consistent long holds. It's very, really very difficult. And so the way I got started was, see, I was in my early mid 20s, and I was doing this exercise program called the 21-Day Fix Extreme. And it's mostly like a mild weightlifting program, but Sundays were just a yoga day, and the video was it was just the same one yoga video you would do on Sundays. And I really liked that that day, that yoga video. And so that company also had some other yoga videos, so I got into that and was really into like learning about it, like the form, the alignment. And after a couple years of having just a home practice, I was at my local library and they were advertising free yoga classes. And so I took a yoga class, and the teacher there taught at the studio that I've now been going to for years, and then I also teach at. And so it just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And now
did you train, or you're like a teacher, aren't you?
I am a teacher.
So mind body, can you quantify the difference between you doing a regular yoga practice and you if you weren't doing a regular yoga practice? I mean, I always think there must be this amazing like calm, because you're getting meditation, aren't you, in your exercise? I mean, has it affected your life and your mindset and your ability to or your resilience, or what are the benefits?
It really has, because there's just so much more to it than the physical aspect of it. Like they say, like once you get into shavasana at the end of a class and then you leave your mat, that's really when the yoga begins. The hour on the mat is just like gearing up for real yoga. It gets you ready to take the yoga with you the other 23 hours of your day.
What is shavasana? Is that thing where you lie down and baby?
It's the one where you just lie flat on the ground at the end of class for 5 minutes and do nothing with your eyes closed. So they say, like that's really when yoga starts. Take that off the mat and keep it with you the other 23 hours. And there's so much more to it, like going off of that, like because it started out thousands of years ago. It was not even a physical practice. It was really like kind of like a mental science. And it was like basically, like I've taught my students, really yoga is essentially how to quiet your mind and be happy and peaceful. And
which is why I think I failed at it. I was good. I really made myself go. And then I noticed I think my third week, they took the clock off the wall and I couldn't do it. I literally left the class. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the whole thing.
Because you didn't know what time it was?
I didn't know when I was going to get out. It was like I was watching. I didn't realize the first 3 weeks I'd been counting down the time. If I do this and be good, I've done it.
That's so interesting.
Ticking the box.
Should give it another try.
I'm after I heal from my 65-year-old lady workout. I'm not making fun of 65-year-olds. I think that was like the advertisement, the level of 65 and above can do this exercise. It was just a number they happen to advertise, guys. Love 65, love all the numbers. So yoga, so musician. Then which came first, yoga or music, and being a musician?
Oh, I started playing piano when I was 8 years old.
So do you play like at gigs or take it out or perform anywhere at all doing it?
No. So I mean, I used to play because I also play guitar. I started playing guitar in 8th grade. And so when I was in college and for a few years after college, I played in like a couple punk hardcore bands that did, so I did play shows around in that.
Very cool. Very,
Yeah.
I can picture you in a long, cool dress. I think it's a blue hair. I did have blue hair for 2 days.
Ah,
It's
2 days.
too hard. It's too hard to maintain. You have to keep taking care of yourself. Like, it's high maintenance blue hair, but it's the coolest
Yeah.
thing. Because Coraline, you know, the
Thank you.
TV show Coraline,
Oh yeah, yeah.
my all-time favorite show. I always wanted hair like hers.
Oh.
So yeah, so yoga, hardcore punk, met the wonderful husband. I'm trying to get a timeline here. So shy Sara went off to school, started working as an engineer, worked in Audible. So that's your kind of grown-up job. And then were you doing yoga? That was all, it was all side by side, wasn't it?
Mostly, yeah, the yoga started. Yeah, I was already freelancing by the time I started yoga. And I had done a little freelancing for Audible. And so the way I ended up at Audible was that's why I always tell my new narrators to check in with me, because I'm very familiar with the "Hi, I still exist" email. And that is how I got where I am, basically. I don't know if any of you know Jeff Dudzik at Audible. He was my contact there, and so a few times a year I would just check in and say, "Hi, Jeff. I'm still here. I'm alive." And it eventually turned into, "Hey, actually, since you're alive,"
He's
and
going
here
to
I
be
am.
thanking you. He's going to be thanking you in 2 weeks because he's going to suddenly have like 400 messages on. Oh, I've got a good question. I've got 2 good questions for you that are coming in. Craig wants to know what's something that you really, really hope you get to do someday. Ooh, I'm going to steal that one in future calls, Craig. What's something you really, really hope you get to do someday for the first time or again?
Um,
That's a good one, isn't it?
is a good one. I feel like I have 2 answers. Like one is just like a fun thing, and another maybe is more like professionally. Like, so I've always wanted to go to Europe and Italy. So I hope I see Italy someday, and South Africa. That's something that's a huge goal of mine. And then I think another thing that I don't know if I ever see myself actually doing it, but something I think that could be really cool, really fun, would be to see what it would be like to direct like an episode of television. I think that would be so much fun and so cool.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it is vastly different from directing just the voice, throwing in all those other elements, but if I find that really interesting, I think it could be really fun.
I did like in my glory days a sitcom, and the thing I always remember that I take away from that, I was like dodgy goth prisoner number 4, so I was hardly like a speaking part, but the thing about it was I noticed there was such a hierarchy. Like if you weren't like a big part, you had to wait till the real people ate.
Oh my gosh.
like and I get it, but it doesn't feel like that in audiobooks in this world.
Yeah, this is the audiobook community is like the nicest community there is.
Yeah, like there's even the people that are very, 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 what we would consider successful, like our gods in this world,
Yeah,
they're like always generous.
yeah,
They're generous with the energy of success. They don't hold on to it like there's only a little bit to go around. It's like,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
it's like
Everyone's so genuine.
and when they realize the people with like the most books, like 700, 800 books, and they come on the call and they're just like everyone else. And it's like, it's those of us, because we have people at all levels, and we have people with less books, and they're like, I can see them being worried. And like, how many people are going to be, you know what I mean? But literally, once they get more books, you hope they realize nobody else is thinking that in this world. If you pay your dues,
Yeah.
you or not. So I've got another question for you from Joel. what did you take from your punk playing days and into your audiobook work?
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
How were you in punk when you were an introvert?
Um,
They're intimidating. I used to love the punk rockers, but they're like really intimidating. You have to be super cool for them to like you.
Um, well, I would say once I got to high school, I did try to let go of, tried to come out of my shell a little more. And I decided like, I'm not going to care what people think about me. And so like the start of my freshman year, I cut most of my hair off. I had like a boy haircut and spiky pink hair.
Oh, I like
And
that.
so
Would you ever go back to that? Do you like changing it around, or
I wouldn't go short again like it was. I have a long face. It does short, tiny hair doesn't work for me.
I wish we'd had this call a month ago before I drank that champagne and cut my hair off. Because I have a long face too. It's the worst mistake
No.
ever. Yeah,
No,
don't
this
drink
looks
and
cute.
cut.
No,
Huh?
I mean that is good lesson. But I think your haircut looks good.
Thank you. No, I kept going back. It's not right, but I'm sure I can make it perfect by the end of the night. Yeah, it was a big bottle.
No drinking with scissors.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I digress, or I made you digress actually. So what did you take from the punk years into your audiobook?
I will say, just for being a musician in general, taking it into audiobooks, I feel like I kind of use it, like I've always used it a little bit in my editing. Like this might make me sound insane, but there have been times when I will be trying to, like, I want to get the pacing, the cadence of something just right, and I will be listening to like the sentence, whatever it is, I have like conducted like audiobooks with my eyes closed. Like,
I love that. I love that. That yeah, you're an audiobook nerd, then that's the level.
yeah, like
You become
like
hyper
it's like a
aware. Yeah.
yeah, like the pacing of the audiobook, it becomes kind of synonymous with like a musical phrasing to me.
So
So I guess
what's
that's how it's merged.
what's stopping you planning the trip to Italy? Because that seems like a
Um,
pretty easy reach. You could like buy the tickets for 3 years from now, and then
that's
that gives you a
true.
long time.
That's true. It's so expensive to go there.
It's once you get
That's
the
been the biggest
tickets,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
really
think
cheap.
I think I'm getting close.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 years
Yeah.
is a good amount of time.
That sounds fair.
I'm putting you
I'm
on a
gonna aim
deadline.
yeah, I'm gonna aim for hopefully even sooner.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's one of my. It's we grew up there. Summers, so it's
Really?
the
Oh,
audiobook. Hillary Huber did the audiobook for my brilliant friend. There's an audiobook series. She did the audiobooks, and if you ever get a chance to watch, I think they're on season 3 coming up. If you ever get a chance to
okay.
watch the series on TV, you've got to watch it. It was so beautifully acted, and it'll get you in the
Um,
mood to go to Italy.
always in the mood.
Yeah, it's really authentic. That and Inspector Montalbano. Have you ever watched Inspector Montalbano?
Oh no, I've never heard of it.
Oh my God. Well, okay, I do have a major crush on him, but you've got to watch Inspector Montalbano. If you haven't, there's like no point living. Yeah, I mean, that will make you buy a ticket like tomorrow. It's
I'll
the
have to look
best.
that up.
Yeah, Inspector
Wow.
Montalbano, a whole series. They're like 1 or 2 hours, and each one is just divine.
Oh
Um,
wow.
And Laura says she loves Italy. Her friend does amazing yoga retreats in Italy and hiking.
Ooh,
So you could
that's
combine.
probably amazing.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
saying, the possibility you could teach yoga in Italy.
Oh my
That would
God.
pay for the tickets. And then
Yes.
everyone buys their own ticket. And you could wear like something with crochet, long and flowing and white with the blue hair. It'd be fab. I'm already packing for you.
Yeah.
Right. I digress. Let's get on to the actual. Oh, can we meet the pups? Love seeing those cuties on Insta.
Oh, there is a
That's
greyhound
Laura
on
said
the
that.
floor next to me.
Hi, puppy. That's the kind of dog you want if you're an audiobook narrator.
Yeah, she doesn't make sound, hardly ever.
She's a studio dog.
And this is Charlie.
Oh, 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 God. That is so gorgeous. That is so gorgeous. We were
And
thinking a dog or a bird, but people said the dogs were loud, so we got a bird, which,
aw, is the bird loud now?
yes, louder than any dog
I
you've
was
ever known.
gonna say.
But is he loud? He looks like he's not. Is it a she or a he?
He, Charlie, and then Zoe's hiding in another room somewhere.
So do you work in the office though? You don't work from home anyway. Do you work in Audible Studios?
I work mostly remote from
That's
home.
so cool. That is like the perfect
Yeah.
job. So how many days a week do you do yoga?
Um, I do some yoga every day.
Really? Do you
Yeah,
not dread it?
even if it's just 5 minutes, 10
Yeah?
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you do yoga, you work from home doing audiobooks. Um, That's like the perfect life, isn't it? Hang out with the puppies and work for actual. I'm a little
They
bit
are,
starstruck
yeah.
by Audible because, like all narrators, we started off as listeners. So I was listening to Audible. This is Audible for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very cool. It must be nice to work for a company that you're proud of. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Okay. So a day in the life of Sara. Are you like an early bloomer, an early waker?
Yeah, actually, I wake up pretty early, and the first thing I do is I go to the gym where I do weightlifting with a personal trainer, and then I come home, maybe do a little bit of yoga, and start working right from this purple room with my furry coworkers.
Oh, so you can't see it's purple. I can see it kind of now when I'm looking. It looked kind of, I thought it was like darker brown. So yeah, so that's cool. Okay, so
Oh,
purple room.
oh
So,
yeah, it's very purple, and the trim is lavender, which you probably can't tell. So it's a very purple room.
but you know what strikes me about that? Because we had a call with Robin Sagerman recently. Um, because I feel like the things that you look at feed your soul as much as the things that I mean, we listen to things. I mean, I'm a big person with music. That's sometimes why I procrastinate. I know I have to get in the booth or I'm going to be working really late, but I want to listen to this or I want to listen to that. But
Right.
sights and sounds, I have to have color. I cannot sit in a room with like white walls and just normal hair and normal clothes and those,
Yeah.
the foam in the like you have to have something you love that sparks your
Yeah,
imagination, don't you
totally.
think?
Something more stimulating. Yeah.
Tattoos.
Instead-
When did you get your first tattoo? I promised I wouldn't go on about yoga and tattoos, you guys. Before the call, I actually tried to act professional. I was like, very nice to meet you, Sara. I promise I won't discuss tattoos and yoga solely. I totally gave him 10 minutes.
I was 24. So that was, yeah, I'm 34 now. So 10 years ago, I got a giraffe on my ankle it's a Salvador Dali's Flaming Giraffe. And I was like, okay, that that's probably it. Wrong.
It's addictive. I want more I've only got one. And the reason I've not got more is because you keep thinking, I want the perfect, and I want to get over that. Because like, were
Yeah,
you ever like
except
that?
um I mean there have been times when I have like an idea of something I want, but I'll wait years before I'm ready because I haven't found the right idea for it. But it's definitely addicting.
Yeah,
Like I could go every couple months if I could.
because your body is your artwork.
Yeah.
That's just like the room that you go into every day, the purple
Hmm.
room, the dogs, the things you see. I think we create our world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong if you want your world to be beige. You know, uh, oh, and
That's
that
funny you
one,
say beige because so I just sorry barking. Um I just bought this house only in October, so I've only been here 10 months, and every single room, including the trim in this house, was beige. The most putrid shade of beige.
they do that. They do that, I think, to sell it because they want like
Oh, this was just
nothing that will
how
have
they designed
any,
it.
yeah, like no
This was actually
personality.
this wasn't what they did to sell it. This was how they lived. Like the
Oh, really?
granddaughter, yeah, because the granddaughter came by to get some stuff after I had been living here for a while, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you covered up the beige. We used to make fun of my grandma all the time for her bad style."
It's
Yeah,
only
that
okay. Like, I mean, if you're doing like a retro, like 1970s avocado, maybe.
yeah. And this room was like beige and red plaid. It was like like an homage to golf room. And since this was going to be the room I worked in, it was the very first thing we painted. I cannot work in this beige mess.
It literally can depress you, I think. I think if you and I okay, you guys, I joke. Beige is a perfectly lovely color, and I can see in a lot of minimalist design places it can be beautiful, and I can see the
Yeah.
Audrey Hepburn style. It's, if anyone knows me, not my style, but I totally get it is a style. But I
Hmm.
just think that it has to be on purpose.
Yeah.
If beige is your thing, beige it up, the most gorgeous beige you can find. It's got to be on purpose. You got to put a stamp on it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this
So
was like the trim and the baseboards. There was nothing to offset it. It's like, why?
I can
I
see you
mean,
guys looking in the house. Well, honey, it's got good bones.
yeah, like I mean, the deck is beige even.
Oh, wow. Well, okay, so now I'm not going to totally for because a lot of people actually want to talk business and stuff. I'm curious about audiobooks. What do you hear that you wish narrators could maybe sometimes, what kind of mistake, not a pickup, obviously, but like what kind of things do you hear? Like Joanna Perrin was saying, manage your breath because you need your sentences flowing. You don't want to stop a sentence when it's nothing to do with punctuation. Like, what kind of
Yeah, that's
advice would you
actually
like to give us?
that is a really good one. Learning breath control. Because there are times when a read is perfectly fine, but there are so many breaths that need to be taken during sentences that, especially if an editor, like if I'm editing it and I'm trying to clean it up, I like to remove a lot of distracting breaths and really make it clean. But that can help if you don't know if you're not using breath control, it could make those sentences sound really choppy
Yeah.
because they're broken up trying to get the air in.
But if
So
it's
I think,
natural, then you don't
yeah,
have to alter it, and then it sounds more natural in the end, but still clean.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that's a really good thing to watch out for.
What about acting?
And I think it's like something I like to remind, like when I have brand new audiobook narrators audition for me, or like in like a new narrator workshop. Something I like to remind them is that, and it's something I keep in mind, like when I'm editing. Just another reminder that like the list in the end, the listener isn't reading the script like we are. So things like the difference between a narrative section, between prose and dialogue, really needs to be made clear, especially if something's written in first person. Those lines can be blurred. Where are we still in the narrative, or is this person actually speaking dialogue right now? And when you're reading a script, like the producer, the editor, the narrator, obviously we're reading it, we know there's the quotation marks, like this, we've moved into dialogue now. Or nope, that was inner dialogue, it's italicized. The listener, the customer has no idea. They really are just relying on your inflection to get those points across. And I have noticed in, editing projects like that, where sometimes it does kind of get lost in translation. And I try to, as an editor, I'll try to fix that with pacing, like separating those moments. But there have been times when it feels like it could have been made more clear from a performance.
That's amazing, because you think, because after you've done it for a while, somebody was talking about a new business thing, and they were saying, do you have your SOP? I hate acronyms, but they were like, do you have your SOP, right? So in other words, if you were to hire a virtual assistant, could you hand them the steps of what you do? And I think after you've narrated for a long time, that's something that completely just becomes second nature. But it's so smart. And I think if you just start, you're not just narrating the words, you're narrating three things. You're narrating the words, the punctuation, and the spaces in between.
Yes.
They're part of the acting job, as much as it's like when you're an actor on the stage. Reacting is as much a part of your job as when you're talking.
Yeah, listening, like not just listening for your cue to come in, but listening to what the other person is actually saying that you're going to respond to.
You've made me think. That's really okay. So it's a fired up and focused thing a lot of narrators are doing, and they're brilliant. And she said, like, you take the things you do every day. There's a challenge going on. You guys can still do it, I think, if you haven't done it. And you assign it like monetary value, like admin work is like $10, and like higher work is more. And then you find out what you're spending all your time on. And the big thing is, if you were to get a virtual assistant, you write down the steps of your job. But I wonder, it would be a really interesting exercise, now like what I've been doing at 7 years, to write down as if I was training someone to do my job. I think it would be really interesting, because I think we all can have reminders. And now the next time I go in, I'm going to be thinking, am I paying it? Do you know what I mean? I think we can all have like a black book of best practice. And I think you develop things, and some of them you learn when you're new and you're just so panic stricken, you don't even know your own name. Like, yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm going to do that. Like, not that I'm ever going to have to try. I don't want to ever coach or anything. But they say that coaches, because when you were directing, did you not find that it gave you a different view of your job that you took back to your job? It makes you better when you're training other people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do more of, casting or engineering or editing?
I probably do more of the producer side than the editing, but I still do a decent amount of editing. So especially any multicast that I direct, I always do the editing on those. And then I try to take on other, if I have the time, I will take on others of my projects to edit as well. So I just really enjoy, I think I really enjoy the editing. A lot of people don't care for it, but I feel like I know that I truly enjoy it, because there are times when I'll be editing for hours and I'll realize, wow, I dehydrated myself because I forgot to stop and drink water.
You're in the flow. You're in the flow. That's probably because you're a musician, don't you think? Because you're that part of your brain. It's like practice. It's like practicing your instrument.
I've actually, it's like one of the reasons, part of what helped me get, my position at Audible, and what helps me, what was a big part of my freelancing career, is I'm a very quick editor. Like I'm really quick in Pro Tools, and I'm just a very efficient editor. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I noticed like the way my fingers flow over the keyboard as I'm editing, instead of, because I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts, so I can do editing very quickly, just like flowing my fingers around. And I was like, it's kind of like
Yeah,
playing the piano.
it is.
And I was a classical piano major, so I was like, maybe this is part of why I'm able to do it, because I can flip my fingers around on this tiny little keyboard, though, because I was able to do it on a giant actual keyboard. So I don't know if maybe there's a correlation there, or
Do
maybe
you
I
have it
sound
at
crazy.
home? Do you have a piano now? I mean, do you get to practice ever now?
I, sadly, I am very out of practice right now, but one of the first things I did when I actually, before I even moved into this house, when I knew it was coming, I knew the date I was moving in, I found on Craigslist, I think, people give away pianos for free a lot because it costs so much just to move them. And so there was someone in Hillsdale, New Jersey, 5 minutes from my new house, where someone was giving away this beautiful antique, like super upright piano. Like if you've seen like regular standard uprights, this is like way taller. And
I've
um
read way too many thrillers. The piano's haunted. It always.
it might be because my piano tutor he looked at it and he was like, this is probably about 100 years old. So it
Yeah,
probably does, it's haunted. And it
yeah.
was made in Newark, just like Audible.
I love that. I love it. So do you have it? So you have a piano, so you can keep in
Yeah, so
practice.
that's so it is in my living room. I actually need to I have two keys that are stuck in the down position, so I need to have someone come and fix them.
I think you're right, though. I think the editing probably doesn't take the place, but it uses the same part of your brain and your talent, that you're using your ear, you're using your instinct, you're using your dexterity of your hands. It's
Yeah,
probably the
it makes
same.
sense.
Yeah. And that's keeping that creative part. And also because that kind of thing is a craft that feet on the ground every day is what makes this better. And also, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure casting is fun. And casting directors like you astound me because you respond to the emails. I'm like, how do they have that much time? You feel guilty writing because you're like, they're going to feel like they have. And then this is the question. Then you respond and say, and then I always feel like, should I go back and say thank you very much? I really, because you don't want to send another email.
Right, like how far do we go?
But you don't want to be rude. They've just said,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's got to take a massive amount of time. And I think I don't know, because some people just do just that, right? They just cast.
Um, I feel like at Audible, I guess maybe some people cast a little more than they direct, but I think all the producers are pretty much like directors as well. Some
That's
more than
that's
others,
that's
maybe.
good. I think that would be
Yeah,
make for a nicer job, because
yeah.
it's also stressful. Do you not feel sometimes stressed, like people's reactions? Because it's learning how to react and learning how to be a good auditioner and learning how to be a good new person is a big challenge in this career. And I see sometimes people get it slightly wrong, or they get offended. They have one book and they're like, why are the publishers not hiring me? And they get upset. And I see that, right? After years of being
Hmm.
kicked about as an actor, you just kind of go, yeah, join the club,
Yeah.
guys. But so do you have to deliver messages like that and deal with people's reactions? Do you get that sometimes, people not
Lu-
understanding the gig?
Luckily, I haven't had that yet. There have been times where it seems like maybe people don't understand, like some people that are new to the audiobook world, they don't seem to understand that it is another acting job. Like I've had people where I'll say, okay, I'm going to add you to our narrator database. And they seem to get the impression that it's almost like, no, it's not a staff job. It's still an acting job. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to have something that will fit you, you know?
You're not getting called into HR and they're not going to give you the badge. They just
Yeah.
aren't. I was so disappointed. I wanted the badge. And I came from an acting background, but I still thought when I started here, someone was going to give me, but what causes that is because we all have to do the social media and the marketing. And
Yeah.
so then you're surrounded by other people and and again, it's like joining, some of us are great at it. Some of us are okay at it. We all do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I wonder how many narrators there are. Thousands, millions,
Yeah.
all together, all trying the same stuff with varying degrees of success, and then all watching
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. But amazingly, like mostly all supporting each other. Like that's another thing about what makes this community so great.
Yeah.
Everyone supports and lifts each other up. It's not about competing with each other.
Yeah, we all get it. We all get it
Yeah.
in the end. Petrea has a good question. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Please type a big no if I'm getting it wrong, because that'll be embarrassing. She says, but that brings up a question. Sara, do you care about how well a narrator markets themselves? Petrea, thank you so much. And I've been doing it wrong for ages. Petrea would like to know, do you care about how well a narrator markets themselves? If they have more followers, does that matter to you?
I don't think I've ever looked at a narrator's number of followers. What I like to look for is I like to look for people's websites to see what additional info you have in your biography. And so I do get a little disappointed when someone doesn't have a biography. I like to see, I think you should be writing a little bit about yourself. And I look for samples. Like you should have a really good array of samples. For example, I mentioned this in the clubhouse I did a few months ago, but I think it's important to really show like everything you want me to know you can do. There should be a taste of that in your samples on your website. Like I sometimes I'll send an audition form for someone to fill out and they'll write this whole list of accents that they can do, or if they have any foreign language skills that they can do, but their sample page just has like male female dialogue, male dialogue, like standard a couple things. But if you could do a number of accents really well, let us hear it. Otherwise, I'm I'm just I don't know if you're just saying you could do it or how well can you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you should really try to showcase what you can do, like really put it out there. If you can speak conversational French, put a sample up with it, rather than just writing it down or putting it on that little form we might send you, so that we can hear anything you think we should hear, and anything you think we should know, I think should be on your website. Even if it's so, like sometimes your hobbies might, I've cast people to read projects because it's a nonfiction book based on something I know they're really into. So even putting your hobbies can help you get a job and, reading something if it's about that hobby or that interest or,
I always I always hear that because I did burlesque and clowning and I put that on there going, there's going to be a nonfiction book about, and I get nonfiction books on like weird medical issues. I think I need to redo my bio. This is good stuff. I hadn't even actually meant to ask that question, but this is good stuff. So are you ever going to would you ever narrate a book?
I do not have the voice.
I didn't actually know that one would get a lot.
I do not think I have the voice for, yeah.
Oh, I think you could
Maybe.
do. I think you could do. I can see you doing a YA book, and like
I do
you,
have I have like a child's voice, so maybe
not
I could play
child,
like
like a. I'm thinking
young
teenage.
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I could do like the small part of like a middle grade student in a multicast.
I love that. I never ever had that voice. I remember answering the phone when I was a kid and they would think I was my mother. And that came in handy
Wow,
with like fake sick notes and everything.
that's great.
So, okay, because think about it, just narrating a book with your ear and your experience, I think it'd be interesting. I'd be really interested if I were you in like hearing how well I could do, because you've got such an ear and you've got the rhythm and the flow. You'd probably just jump in.
You know, it's funny. Another one of my colleagues on the post team here, Brett, he had asked me if I could just he asked if I have a home studio set up, and I said I have an interface and I have like a little walk-in closet now, so I could record something pretty cleanly without trying too hard. And he asked me if I could just record like a couple sample scripts for something he was doing. And so I got in my closet with my mic and I recorded a few pages of something, and it was just 3 pages. And I was like, wow, this is hard.
You get used to it. Sean Pratt told me that. I remember Sean said when, because I started coaching with him when I first started. Okay, when I first started, I might have fibbed or implied that I had done, I'd acted. So to me, that wasn't a real lie. And rocked up at the Royal National Institute of the Blind, said, right, I'm ready for my first audiobook, not realizing what it meant to like be in the booth from 8 in the morning till 5 at night, 3 days
Oh
a
my
week.
gosh, that's
But
a
you get
lot.
directors and you learn quick. But what I was going to say was Sean said that you either know when you go in if you can, if you're going to be able to be an audiobook narrator, or if you're more of a voiceover person, you know, short form narration. And I
Hmm.
remember the first book I tried to narrate on my own in my home studio. And I remember being really worried, like really scared that maybe the first 2 days, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Because I mean, who am I kidding? I'm a Gemini. I have the attention span of a fly. So I remember
Gemini.
thinking, are you a Gemini? Oh, see, I'm sorry. The hair, the tattoos, the best people. But yeah, but the thing is I remember thinking maybe I can't do this. Maybe I can't.
Mm.
But then it came down to every time I tried to get myself to quit, I couldn't do anything else in the world. Like,
So you
you
knew
know,
you
when
had to
you,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know when you're doing what you need to do because you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't care. And before people think it, because I know people when you're very new and you get a couple of books, but then you don't yet have the built-in stream of contacts. I get messages from people all the time and they're, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might need to, if it's like, then you get a part-time job and you do what you need to do to get the money in, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's unfortunate. I was like as old as I am, or I would have been pole dancing, I'm not kidding you, to get the money to keep narrating. And,
Yep.
but taking a part-time job doesn't mean you're not a narrator.
Yeah. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it doesn't mean there was a failure anywhere. It's just we all have to survive.
Yeah, and you just hang on as long as you can, right? And
Yeah.
just and take advice and feedback. Because I mean, because if you're horrible and everyone keeps telling you, "Oh my God, I can't listen to you," probably like get some coaching.
Yeah.
But most people are pretty good. You know, they come here for a reason. They've got a love of it, like you with the editing. You love it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And the yoga, which I still can't wrap my head around how you can love that. But I'm really gonna try because I'm. The thing is I want. The problem I think with me with exercise is I want the end results. I want to be
Oh
hot,
yeah.
strong girl that can wrap herself around and twist, but I don't want to
I
do the
understand
actual
that.
thing.
I'm a
right?
very impatient person, so I feel that.
Yeah, Barbara says it takes time.
It
Yeah,
does.
not my favorite
Everything, yeah,
words.
same.
Yeah.
You know, I
And
do one
also,
sit up and I'm like, where are the abs? Where are they?
well, also the editing, it's because you're a Gemini. That's it. Mystery solved. Um, did we get a pronouncer? Pagluica. It's Pagluica, Patria. Yeah, Pagluica. Except, as it turns out, nothing is easy. Who'd have thought? Joel, thanks.
Yep,
Yeah, I'm
true.
still thinking I'm going
Nothing.
to game the system on that one. I'm still thinking there is a shortcut.
If you figure it out, let us know.
Yeah, and I mean, like that one, that whole fired up one where she had you do different levels of things, and her whole thing was all the admin you should outsource to someone. And then I was like, but oh my God, who can be bothered? I'll just do it myself. But I guess business is a fact of life. So I've got a very important question. For people that are going to be watching this video in the next 60 years, what words of advice, how would you like to be with them to, if they take nothing else from this call, what would you like? And it doesn't have to be narrating. It could be yoga. It could be spiritual. It could be life. It could be something funny. What would you like people to remember this talk by and you and take away from this? Or word you live by, or something you try to remind yourself, lesson you've taught yourself, some.
I think, the first thing that came to mind was that, that little beat we hit about how nice the audiobook community is. And I think that's just an important thing, just kindness overall, that we need to be more kind to each other. And no matter, not just in our little community, but with everyone, like we need more kindness. And I think also you could tie that back to the yoga too, because that's a part of yoga, non-harming and kindness. I think that's something
Are
the
they
whole book
really though?
is.
I thought they were really competitive in yoga.
That's the wrong yoga. They're doing the wrong yoga.
Okay. Okay, I might give it a try. But yeah, it is, right? Because like if you think about, wow, if I think about the best thing of this, the thing that I've got from this job that I'm the happiest about, that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world, is when I first started, I did books for a couple of writers. And they're my dearest friends in the entire world. And
Aw.
I'm in awe at their talent and just the narrators you meet and the lessons you learn and the people that come on the show and the
Yeah.
lessons you learn, and they inspire you. And I'm gonna go do yoga maybe for 5 minutes, and
Yeah, 5 minutes.
yeah, you're right, kindness. I've got the title of this
Yeah.
show. I like that. I think we could end on a worse note. I think that's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much, my fellow Gemini.
Thank
I
you.
wish you the very best. And everyone, thank you so much for joining. This was the call I needed tonight. And I'm
Oh,
so happy
yay.
to have met you. And Patria, I will never get it wrong again, I swear. Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Sarah. Bye.